viewers. One of the community, Hyperlord, asked me about the TrackIR, which I've got the TrackIR software on screen at the moment. But let me just show you a couple of pictures first. So this thing on the left is the little TrackIR camera, and it's an infrared camera. It's a tiny little thing, and it needed a little bit of mechanical help to stay on top of my monitor. Originally, I had it on top of the webcam, but that didn't work out so well, so now they both share a not quite optimum position. On the headphones, I've got the thing called TrackClip Pro, which is an active tracker. And what I mean by active is it's powered. You can see its wire going down here, and that's tied onto the headphone cable. If you were wearing wireless headphones, you'd probably want to look for the mod that powers it from a battery box. It's got 3 little infrared LEDs on it that you can see here, and that's the thing that the TrackIR actually tracks. And you can see it tracks your head movements, left and right, and you can roll. If you go too far, it can lose you. It does get confused by my microphone when I'm rolling a little bit sometimes, because the mic's in the way. And I have to say, it might have some unexpected consequences. So if I have a drink from my drink bottle, for example, oops, or if I look over at my rail driver, you can imagine what that does in the game. Or even if I'm looking at the keyboard, trying to find my home keys so I can use the keys for the keyboard properly. Now you'll notice it's also not quite centered at the moment, so let's just center that. F12, that's better. And it does take a little bit of practice to turn your head and actually stay on a smooth track. It takes a little while to get used to that. And you can see that as you go into the extremes, you tend to roll a little bit as well, especially that side. But that's life, isn't it? Okay, now let's try it in game. We'll have a look with Train Simulator, so I'll come right back in a moment. Righto, I've just jumped into Train Sim Classic. We're in one of the Alaska diesels, and it pretty much works the same way. These ones you can't open the windows, but guess what? You can still stick your head out. And you can still look behind you. And you can look through the door, look around the other side, around here. There's limits to how far you can move. Look up. We've got our light and things up here. I think that's the light, isn't it? Yep. There we go. So it's pretty much the same Train Simulator. You can watch other things happen too. You go, hey, here's a cool train. Let's watch it. So it changes the game a lot. Now, one thing in particularly in Train Simulator I find is why is that one following so close? Oh no, it's a different track. It's all right. I often find that you don't get much of a point of view. Well, lean back. Look at that. Got the whole lot. So you can actually start the game leaning forward, and then when you sit back in your normal position, you'll end up with a nice wide view like this. It's really handy. It's kind of tricking the field of view system a little bit. Now, one thing that Train Simulator doesn't have is a way to turn mouse look back on, so you have to look around. So if you want to find a control, you have to find it with your head. So that can be a little bit tedious, but, you know, it works out. All right, let's see what else we can find that makes it work. All right, here we are in Train Sim World with the TrackIR, and I can look around the cab. There's my fireman over there, and I can look at controls and use them. And if I find I'm not quite centered, there's one cool thing about TSW is you can turn mouse look back on by right-clicking your mouse, and then you can center yourself wherever you want to be with the TrackIR, and then turn it off again, and look at that, centered. Now you can do cool things too, like lean out the window. And if you look behind you and then lean out the window, you can see behind you, which is kind of cool. What you can't do, though, is look out the window and then look behind you. It gets stuck. You have to look behind you first. Handily, if you want to see the steam pressure gauge, you can lean over and actually have a look. 245, nice. And I notice it's dropping even though we're sitting still. That's life, isn't it? You want to look at the water gauge? Yeah, lean in a bit. No problemo. Okay, well, that's it for the steam engine demo. Maybe we should have a look in a diesel as well. All right, here we are in the Clinchfield SD40, and we can do the same kinds of things as before. We can open the window and stick our head outside. We can look behind us and stick our head outside. We can look down at the console. We can look over there. We can open up the cabinet in the back and lean around for a better look. Kind of handy. Just close that up. It does get a little bit confused if you've got mouse look on, so I'm now facing into the side because I turned with the mouse, which was silly. But I can recenter it. I can look up there. I can look at my light switch if I want to. I can lean in if I want to read a dial. If I can't quite read it, I can lean in, which is kind of handy. And I can freak out the bloke over there. Hi. All good. Now, let's look at it in one of the locos that I find this is, well, actually, it's not even a loco, it's a cab car where this is things really, really, really handy. Let's go there now. Oh, now we're in the CT3C cab car, you know, the one we all like to hate. But the thing that you always can't look at, because it's up here, the Axis and ATC ADU, guess what? Now you can. Want to hit your switches? Just look at them. Dunk, dunk, dunk. All good. Now, there's one difference between Train Simulator and Train Sim World I should cover. When you're on foot, guess what? You can look around. Pretty handy for finding collectibles. Now, it does get a little bit confused sometimes. And it can be a little bit confusing because, you know, mouse look's actually guiding your direction. So that governs where you walk, not where you look. See? It's a bit strange. It does take a bit of getting used to. It's kind of like driving an excavator when the tracks go one way and the cab can go another way. But you do get used to it. See, if you look around, you don't actually change where you're going because you're not changing the mouse look. But then it gets confusing because now I'm not going in a straight line. Now it's trying to go down the middle of where I'm looking. So it is a bit weird in the way it works. But, you know, it does work. So if you're looking for collectibles or something, or if you're like me and you're looking around the routes because you want to, oh, that's the other weird thing that happens sometimes. Now, facing backwards, no, let's walk. Ooh. We spun around to 360. Watch, we'll do it again. Whee! So if you're already facing that way, it's okay. But if you're facing the other way, it spins you around and then puts you back. Full 360. Ooh, it's quite stomach churning, to be honest. But anyway, I thought I'd show you that. It's kind of cool. It's handy. So just to wrap it up, TrackIR device, very handy indeed. You wouldn't want to miss out, would you? No. Well, there you go. This is for you, Hyperlord. So there we go. TrackIR. See you later.